The sound of success, the taste of fear, the smell of victory. Over the last 50 years, McLaren have known them all. The greatest drivers in the history of Formula One.
McLaren's 50th anniversary, eh? This should be a night to remember.
So who's hosting this prestigious event then?
I'll be rocking the mic tonight, chaps.
You're joking, man.
Indeed, I will be joking, Sergio. I have a couple of zingers right here.
Oh, whoops, a daisy.
Come here.
50 years of racing. 50 years of McLaren.
And now, please welcome on stage today's stars of McLaren, Mr. Jenson Button and Mr. Sergio Perez.
Hola.
Yes, we're here. I know.
And your host for this evening, Professor M.
Just get the cards in the right order. Good evening, Oh, over there. So, how many McLaren engineers does it take to change a light bulb? Well, technically none, because here at the McLaren Technology Centre we use high-carbide pure tungsten filaments. Not so much a joke as a fact. I'll do another one. Knock, knock. No? Okay, let's press on. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin our journey through the history of McLaren, the drivers, the cars, and all the statistics, which I'll be presenting to you over the next 4 hours.
4 hours of this.
Man, where are the emergency exits?
The McLaren brand began 50 years ago, and from the start it was a story of success. Hold our dash! Oh, good heavens, that's all I need. I'm sorry?
I'm down here. I said you're talking out of your tailpipe, Professor. You don't know the first thing about how McLaren started.
And how exactly would you know?
'Cause I was there.
Well, people haven't come to hear your story, sir. With respect, I have the stage, and I hold the mic. Chaps?
Aye, thanks.
Chaps?
As I was saying, the real story of McLaren began long ago, back in 1953. Hey, what do you mean end of part one? I haven't even started yet. The real story of McLaren began long ago with a young boy called Bruce McLaren.
Whose original racing car is right here on the stage, ladies and gentlemen. A marvel of engineering.
It was a heap of junk! A tin can on wheels!
Oh, great. You again.
Of course, things were a lot different back then. For one thing, the McLaren Technology Centre was a tad smaller.
Holy shit!
And there were only 3 employees. Bruce, me, and a Kiwi called Russell.
She's carked it, mate. Oh, well, back to the drawing board.
To me, that tin box had as much chance of hitting 100 miles per hour as our Kiwi had of flying. But Bruce was determined to be a racing driver.
Oh, we definitely got it this time, mate.
Hold on. Sorry. I'm not going to stand idly by and let you insinuate that Bruce McLaren was a failure.
Failure? The man was a genius. Because he knew you don't succeed without hitting a few bumps along the way. One day, he decided to take an unconventional approach to aerodynamics.
Oh, now we're flying, Russell! Russell! Oh, it's ice, bro!
He was the youngest ever winner of a Grand Prix, a title he would hold for over 40 years. So you see, that was Bruce's secret. He made you believe anything was possible.
Yes, well, I'm afraid that doesn't include people sitting on the exhibits, sir.
Hey, get your hands off me!
With pleasure. Now, who'd like to see a statistical breakdown of Bruce McLaren's racing career?
Or I could tell you all my Emerson Fittipaldi story.
Oh, nuts.
Now, the one thing you need to know about Emerson Fittipaldi
Is that he was a driver of enormous talent. In Brazil, his nickname was the Mouse, due to his uncanny resemblance to, well, a mouse.
He was no mouse. We used to call him something quite different.
Oh, did you? Well done, you.
Let me tell you, there was more to Emerson than met the eye.
Hey, good to see you, man. You're looking good.
Don't get me wrong, off the track, he was a gentle soul.
You want me to sign those babies?
Who wouldn't hurt to fly?
Hey!
Oh. Yes.
But when he got behind the wheel, that was quite a different story. Emerson was no mouse. To us, he was the wolf.
Emerson Fittipaldi was a werewolf?
Cool.
All I'm saying is, he never raced on a full moon.
Well, of course he didn't. Nobody did. The races were held in the daytime.
When he heard the sound of that engine revving, it unleashed a wild beast within him.
Sorry, everyone. I couldn't resist.
As soon as the flag went down, he became an animal. It was one of the sport's deepest, darkest secrets. But the second the race was over, he was a mouse once more. The only clue to his true identity was his massive pair of hairy...
Yes, all right, that's enough of that.
sideburns. What do you think I was going to say?
This is preposterous. Emerson Fittipaldi is not a motor racing lycanthrope. Prove it! Well, as a matter of fact, he happens to be one of our guests tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Emerson Fittipaldi.
Hi, folks.
Now, Emerson, I'm sorry to have to ask you this, but are you now, or have you ever been, a werewolf?
I'm sorry to disappoint you guys, but I'm just a regular Formula One world champion.
Thank you, Emerson Fittipaldi.
Told ya.
Our next driver is James Hunt, McLaren's first British champion. Though I'm not always sure his off-track activities gave our country a good name.
Codswallop! The man was a national hero. You see, there was more to James's off-track activities than you ever knew, Professor.
The name's Hunt. James Hunt.
I know who you are, James, and let me warn you, partying, womanizing and gambling have no place in Monaco.
Nice legs, Prof. Shame about the face.
And they're off and racing, or as they say here in France, something else. I don't speak French.
James, you're needed on a mission.
There's a race going on, dear boy. Can't this wait 57 laps?
I'm afraid not. An evil mastermind has stolen a precious microfilm. Your mission is to track it down.
Okie dokie.
England's depending on you, James. Me? I'm no bothered. I'm Scottish.
Damn it. Hedge mechanics.
Peekaboo.
Oh man, I wanna be a spy.
Button. Jensen Button. I like the sound of that.
Maybe I'll get lucky tonight.
Looks like your luck's run out.
Looking for this, Mr. Hunt?
Loudfinger.
The film and the race are mine, but at least you will have one last hot lap.
Phew, thought I'd almost lost my helmet. Thanks.
Where on earth is James?
What? This is impossible!
Unbelievable! It looks like Hunter's prematurely ejected.
So that's why James lost the race.
Well, not exactly.
James? James, what the devil are you up to now?
Just doing an after-race debriefing.
Utter nonsense. James Hunt was not a secret agent.
Then why has this car got an ejector seat?
No idea, but let's give it a whirl, shall we? Excellent. Let's move on to the most successful driver in the history of McLaren. Living legend and close personal friend of mine, Mr. Alain Prost.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Thank you.
Firstly, let me just say welcome back to McLaren. Or, as you would say in French, mon aspirateur sont de McLaren.
I think maybe you should stick to English, Professor.
Right you are, but if anyone's the professor, it's you, sir.
Oh, please, I was just lucky to have you as my chief engineer.
Au contraire, Alain. I was lucky to have such a wonderful driver.
Oh, Professor, you're too kind.
No, Professor, you are too kind.
Oh, guys, get a room.
From the moment he joined McLaren, it was clear Alain was a true connoisseur of racing.
1958, a great vintage.
An expert.
A V8, music to my ears.
And an intellectual.
Checkmate, my British chum.
Alain, is there anything you can't do?
Too kind, Professor, but behind every great driver is a great engineer.
Sorry to break up this love fest.
Good heavens, that's a health and safety nightmare.
But aren't you forgetting 1984?
The year I was Alain's personal engineer. What an honor.
Alain, do you remember the Dallas Grand Prix?
Call me unconventional, but I think a thinner tyre will give Alain the edge. Well, perhaps I made an error once.
And what about the British Grand Prix?
Call me a maverick, but I think a lightweight gearbox will give Alain the edge.
And the Italian Grand Prix?
Call me a genius, but I think we should recalibrate the whole engine. Well, it isn't all about winning, is it?
Wasn't that the year that you lost the World Championship, Ella?
By half a point.
Mon Dieu, he's right. It was you idiot!
Alain, my old friend.
I could have won a 5th World Championship if it was not for you, you English fool.
No! Ow! Oh, I was just trying to help. Oh!
Vous êtes un imbécile.
Ow!
Je vous déteste. Vous sentez comme un aspirateur.
Please, Alain, I am very sorry. Je suis très délicieux. Ow!
Oh man, that's gotta hurt.
Nice left hook, Alain.
C'est la vie. Let's move on to the legendary Ayrton Senna, one of the greatest drivers the world has ever known.
Shook his hand, Donington 93. Haven't watched it since.
Of course, when you mention Ayrton, you cannot ignore his biggest nemesis.
Ladies and gentlemen, our new driver, Ayrton Senna.
Ayrton.
Elton?
Ayrton.
Eaton?
Ayrton.
Ayrton. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Senna.
You didn't hit it off from the start, did you, Professor?
Look, I never had any trouble working with Ayrton. Believe me, we were like chalk and, something chalk goes well with.
Cheese.
Hello! Now, let me tell you a little bit about driving Formula One cars. You see, in mine, right.
Now, my advice would be to take this corner quite carefully. All fast works, two, Aaron?
Seem to have a malfunction on the radio. check that out, would you, chaps?
Everyone knew that Senna was more than just a driver. He was a poet.
I am designed to win. There is no prize for second best.
Well, technically there is. It's called silver. Nothing to sniff at?
It's impossible to describe the euphoria of winning a race.
But if you had to, it's kind of like finding money in an old coat. Wouldn't you say,
When I get behind the wheel, for me, there are no limits. There are no rules.
Mr. Senna is referring to metaphorical rules and doesn't condone any breach of FIA regulations.
Forget this.
You heard the man. No more questions. Sorry.
It soon became one of the greatest rivalries of motor racing history.
Look, I did my level best to keep things between us light-hearted.
Ron, come on. I cannot work with this idiot anymore.
I've tried to reach out to him, Ron. It was me that instituted Samba Day, but I'm getting nothing.
He's pushed me beyond my limit, which I did not believe was possible.
One of us has got to go. It's either him or me.
Ayrton Senna's third world title makes it...
Number 37, chicken nuggets. Let's move on to the next exhibit, shall we?
Wake up, mate.
Our next champion is Mika Häkkinen. No one could dispute Mika's extraordinary powers, or indeed my own contribution to his success.
I could! Mika was extraordinary. More than you ever knew, Professor. For Mika's story is our strangest tale yet. It begins in a remote forest in Finland. From the beginning, it was clear there was something special about Mika. Oh, my leg. Immediately I knew this boy's special powers could be harnessed for a noble and worthy cause. Formula One. Maybe the cape's a bit much.
What about the pants? Okay, but I'm keeping the shiny suit, huh?
And so was born the Flying Finn.
Oh, no, you don't. You're not going to ruin this one, matey. Mika's the man who got me out of the canteen and back doing what I do best. Engineering.
Engineering? There was no engine. With Mika's powers, he didn't need one. And Mika's pit stops were legendary. But perhaps you didn't notice, Professor.
Good work, chaps.
Keeping his identity a secret wasn't always easy.
Mika, you must feel like Superman.
Yes.
But with his superpowers, there was nothing he couldn't do.
Except cure baldness, eh, Prof?
Did you not suspect something when Mika told you his reasons for early retirement?
I must return home to my planet. Sisu.
Right. I don't know what they've been putting on your cornflakes, Mika, but the thing is, we need you here at McLaren.
Do not fear, Professor. There will be another.
Aikasi on koittanut. Maapallo odottaa sinua. Kimi.
I'm sorry. I've heard some preposterous tales tonight, but this one really takes the biscuit. You're actually suggesting that Mika Häkkinen was a flying super driver from another planet?
Ask him yourself, Professor.
Shh. Let's keep this our little secret, okay?
Let's move on to our final McLaren World Champion. Look, I knew what you're going to say. What happened was a slight technical issue with the simulator. So, let's press on to our grand finale instead. Fittipaldi, Hunt, Prost, Senna, Häkkinen. They weren't just great drivers. They were so much more than that.
Yeah, a werewolf, a secret agent, a boffin, a guru, and an intergalactic superhero.
What I'm talking about is the nature of success. What does it mean? Can we even define it? Yes! If success is represented by X and effort required by Y, then this equation should...
You want to know what success is all about? It's about a Kiwi jumping off a shed. It's about knowing something's impossible and doing it anyway.
Okay, so if the Kiwi is represented by K and its trajectory by T, then...
You don't quite understand, do you, Professor?
What I don't understand is what you're doing here, sir.
I left something behind. The old timekeeper. It was Bruce's present to me. Sorry. Could you all give me a moment, please?
Somebody stop him!
You heard the man.
And it's go, go, go! And here come Button and Perez.
Shall we give these kids a driving lesson?
Darned elderly drivers.
Fantastic! This is the most exciting thing I've seen in 92 years. Which is incredible because I'm only 89.
Maximum attack.
Oh, dear. That's happened again.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. They seem to like it.
Yes, well, you haven't exactly made it easy for me, have you?
Aye, but you didn't give up. And that's why you should have this.
Golly, you sure?
Well, it was mine for the last 50 years. Perhaps it's time it was someone else's.
Thank you.
Here's to the next 50.
Oh, well, back to the drawing board. Oh, now we're flying, Russell! Russell! Oh, choice, bro!
Hi, folks. You're looking good.
There was more to Emerson than met the eye.
I'm just a regular Formula 1 world champion.
The name's Hunt. James Hunt. Maybe I'll get lucky tonight. Okie dokie.
1958, a great vintage.
I think a lightweight gearbox will give Alain the edge.
Checkmate, my British chum.
Ladies and gentlemen, our new driver, Ayrton Senna.
For me, there are no limits. There are no rules.
From the beginning, it was clear there was something special about Mika.
Maximum attack.
Ha ha!
In 2012, McLaren launched something entirely new for the world of Formula One. A cartoon.
Uh-oh, he's going to tell us a story.
The fully CG animated show, Tooned, was a hit with fans. This year, McLaren, powered by Oscar-winning studio Framestore, are taking Tooned to a new level. In celebration of McLaren's 50th anniversary, the makers of Tooned have created a story which spans the decades. Welcome to Tooned 50.
Yes, we're here. I know.
Back again this year is McLaren star driver Jenson Button.
Sorry, everyone. I couldn't resist.
The new series also features the character of McLaren's latest driver, Sergio Perez.
Hello, everyone.
Comedian Alexander Armstrong returns as the voice of McLaren's egghead, Professor M.
Oh, great. You again.
The series also features a brand new character, a mysterious old Scotsman known simply as the Mechanic with no name, based on some of the real-life veterans of McLaren and voiced by Hollywood actor Brian Cox. That's me. The story of the series focuses on different drivers in the history of McLaren, starting with the great Bruce McLaren himself.
If he said to everybody, all right, you guys all line up, we're going to march single file across the Sahara Desert, everybody would have followed him out the door.
Well, he was the man.
Then the world champion with the finest sideburns in Formula One, Emerson Fittipaldi.
It's about time you shaved those sideburns a bit shorter.
Part 4 tells the story of the off-track exploits of the legendary James Hunt.
Well, I witnessed all the girls around him. God, they're like bees to honey.
In Part 5, we tell the story of the other professor of Formula One, Alain Prost.
On the racetrack, he could be someone you wanted to stay away from.
Voiced by the great man himself.
He's a canny man, is Alain.
Part 6 tells a little-known story in the career of the genius that was Ayrton Senna.
If you look at some of the things that he did, you'd have to say it's magic.
The Flying Finn, Mika Hakkinen, returns to voice his own character in Part 7.
Mika's approach to driving was get in it and go as fast as it'll go.
That felt good.
Part 8 brings us up to date with modern drivers Jenson and Sergio. Tales of the greatest drivers in the history of Formula One, driving some of the fastest cars ever built. Tune in to Tooned 50.
The big challenge for us for Series 2 of Tooned was to try and make something that was different from Series 1, to do something that was technically and creatively challenging.
One of the things we decided for this series was to make it much more cinematic. The whole thing's kind of scaled up, the style of it, the look, the music score, it's much more ambitious.
And to make it into something that worked individually as episodes, but also came together as, you know, a complete whole.
Last season was effectively a sitcom. This is a comedy film.
In Series 1, we had Jenson and Lewis up to various antics at the McLaren Technology Centre.
Cool.
And that was a lot of fun.
This year it was Jenson and Sergio, and so they carried on and are very much a central part of Series 2, as is the Professor. Alexander Armstrong once again brought huge character and humour to that role.
Je suis très délicieux!
We wanted to expand the whole scope of the series, and McLaren's 50th anniversary was a great opportunity to do that.
This was a celebration which enabled us to explore some of the other drivers, the McLaren champions.
To dig into the past, to explore these different worlds, the different periods, the cars, the drivers, the look of the era. We just realised very quickly that that would be a really exciting prospect.
Obviously the fun part was meeting all the drivers, recording them.
Is Emerson actually a werewolf?
Ooh!
Well, maybe.
James Hunt. That was a challenge. A lot of James's behaviour was beyond the limits of family entertainment.
It's not family entertainment.
Just doing an after-race debriefing.
We were lucky enough to get the voice of Tom Hunt, his son.
The name's Hunt. James Hunt.
Whose voice actually is extremely similar.
There's a race going on, dear boy. Can't this wait 57 laps? Oh, this is good fun.
We weren't entirely sure what to expect. As it turned out, he really was very charming. The script required him to build up a bit of anger.
I never do that. So that's the problem.
We wanted the Senna episode to be as if it was part of the Senna documentary that just didn't make it into the actual movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Senna.
So getting Bruno Senna to do Ayrton's voice, that was a massive privilege, really.
I think Ayrton would have thought it was really, really good.
With Mika, you never know what you're going to get.
We thought you'd have a bit of trouble with us putting him in cape and pants, but he was laughing constantly.
How about the pants?
What about the pants? What about the pants? We wanted to make a story about how did Bruce start out, that inspirational quality that existed from childhood.
Hopefully we've managed to capture the spirit of McLaren
and combined it with the spirit of Tooned.